Welcome back to the Bullpen on the Horn Takes podcast. Joining me from the Bullpen, Mark from Occupy Left Field and Zach from orangebloods.com. As always, Mark, Zach, thanks for joining. How we doing tonight, guys?
Fantastic, man. Another beautiful Monday. We get to talk about more wins from
Get to
from
talk
Texas
about
baseball.
wins, man.
Can't beat
Mondays
that.
are always best when we get to talk about baseball wins, right?
No doubt about that.
Absolutely. Well, make sure you guys join us. Follow us on X for all the latest in Texas baseball. Subscribe, get notified on the YouTube channel at Horn Takes. Check out the store, horntakestore.myshopify.com. We got some exciting news coming for the Horn Takes store. I don't want to reveal it just yet, but because I don't have it in my hands. We got some good stuff coming. Some cool merch for you guys to help out the Texas Longhorns as well. Help out one of your favorite players. I guarantee it. Mark's got a lot of the Occupy Left Field stuff still for sale over on Last Stand Hats. So y'all make sure y'all get over there to Last Stand Hats. Check that stuff out. They got hats, hoodies, T-shirts, right, Mark? What else we got over there?
That's basically it, man. Had a real good weekend there in left field. Got a live shipment of hats that we were selling out there for the Auburn series, and we sold out by about the third inning of Saturday's game. So that was exciting to see all of the support that we had there for the merchandise and for the program. So we really appreciate everybody that was out there supporting us.
Outstanding. Make sure you guys check that stuff out. You get to get some really cool Texas gear, get to help out the Texas One Fund. Guys, if you choose seeds, and you should choose seeds. And by the way, folks, these Chinook seeds, so y'all been hearing all the politics about cutting out all the artificial stuff. ChinookSeedery.com does not use any artificial stuff in their seeds, folks. So make sure you get over to ChinookSeedery.com. Use the promo code right there, man. Chinook seeds. If you see me at the game this weekend, I'm going to have a whole lot of Chinook seeds for you guys. So come out to left field. Come see us this weekend. And make sure you go to ChinookSeedery.com. Use that promo code HornTakes. Get 10% off your order at ChinookSeedery.com, rather. Check that
Sean,
out.
what's your flavor? What's your flavor, man?
Man, I haven't even tried them yet. So it's funny. Our son just moved out of the house, and I have these boxes piled up that they just sent me last week. And my wife's like, "Here, take this box." I'm like, "Oh no, you don't. I got plans for those boxes. You can have some of the seeds out of there." So far, I've only had the original, which are really good, and the what is it? Is it garlic and Parmesan or pepper and Parmesan?
Yeah,
I've had those. They're really good as well. I'm about to get down on those dill pickle though, because that sounds really good. I'm not a huge. You know what? I say that I'm not a real ranch guy, but I like ranch flavored chips. So I think I might like
ranch
these
ranch
flavored.
The ranch
seeds.
are really good.
Yeah. So yeah, but come out to the left field this weekend for the A&M series, and there will be some Chinook Seedery seeds for you guys. Come by and check that out. If you're watching with us tonight, go ahead and jump in the chat. Leave us your comments. Leave us your questions. We'll try to answer as much as we can. We got Cody Jones. Cody Jones always up in here. Cody, thanks for being here with us tonight.
Bro, he's coming to Austin this weekend.
Is Cody coming to Austin? So I get to meet Cody. That's good stuff. We will all three be in Austin this weekend. Yeah, this is going to be a good weekend. It's going to be a fun weekend. The trifecta of the Bullpen will be in Austin. That doesn't happen all the time because
I know you're bringing me some dill seeds there, boy.
I will. I'm bringing a whole box. I'm bringing a whole box of seeds. There will definitely be some dill ones in there. I will save you a pack of dill seeds, as a matter of fact. Guys, this Auburn series. So Auburn comes into the house. They're ranked number 8th in the country. Just got done. What did they just get done doing? They swept
LSU.
Yeah, they swept LSU at home for the first time since the late 80s, which is insane. So a pretty good Auburn ball club comes into Austin, and all Texas does is just pretty much. I mean, the first game was close. The second game, the margin got a little bit bigger. And then Saturday, they just absolutely stomped the Auburn Tigers. 4 of the last 6 SEC series so far have been sweeps for this Texas Longhorn team. 2 of those over top 10 opponents. What are we thinking, guys? Talk to us about this series.
It's just not normal. No, I mean, I was looking at the stats today, and enough cannot be said enough about the job that Max Wiener's done. And it sounds like we just say this every single week, but every single week is ridiculous. So the bullpen this weekend, they went 14 innings, gave up 7 hits, only 2 runs, 2 of them earned. They only walked 3 people and they struck out 16. I mean,
it's crazy.
And that's taking into account the fact that Jared Spencer left after 43 pitches on Thursday, and then they took Ruger Riojas out just to give him some rest because they said, "Hey, we're getting some other guys work. We're not worried." Like, that's the kind of trust they have in the bullpen. They're like, "Yeah, we're taking him out. He had a long weekend the week before at Kentucky, and let's give our other guys some work." And they went to work. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's ridiculous how good this bullpen has been this season compared to where it was last year and compared to it was for the last. I mean, you could arguably say this bullpen is better than going back to even 2021.
Kevin
You're getting
needs you to
shit in
put
the
your hat
chat
on,
from
man.
Kevin Bing. This is 2 weeks in a row. He's shaking into putting the hat on.
I mean, I think you could argue about the bullpen's been great. We've had some guys out of the bullpen that have been great all season, but we haven't had the depth. I don't feel like until the last few weeks. It seems like some guys have really stepped up big time, and not just like stepped up and came in and got some innings, like stepped up, came in and like shut some people down and got some innings. So that's really exciting. You see Jared Spencer go out on Thursday, and we're up in the air on what that's all about. Pretty sure he's not pitching this weekend. I think you talked to Sloss this morning, and he said, yeah, Jared Spencer not pitching this weekend. I think we all kind of knew that at some point over the weekend. It started getting reported. So, but man, just guys stepping up and continue. And we've been talking about that all year. Just next man up mentality. And they don't flinch. Like, the next dude just comes in and starts throwing strikes, and the defense is getting outs. Talk to us about it, Mark. How was the vibe out in left field during the weekend?
It was pretty strong, especially on Friday and Saturday. It was a weird scenario on Thursday with the game being on a weeknight. There was a softball game going on as well, the hours leading up to baseball. So you may have seen a tweet I threw out there on Thursday, but I was actually really worried about the crowd about 6:15 on Thursday night, man. Like, that was about as empty as I've seen left field in the stadium 45 minutes leading up to a game, like, in a minute. Like, it was more empty than you typically see on a Tuesday night game. So I was like, where the hell is everybody? Why is there nobody here? Like, I took my daughter inside to get a snow cone. There was literally 40 people in the stadium. But everybody started showing up eventually, and by the end of the first inning, pretty packed house, man. But just going back to the team in general, I was kind of thinking to myself as I was driving to work this weekend, I can't think of a more impressive team to start a season than this 2025 Longhorns team, right? We've obviously had some really good teams in the past, but when you really look at 33-5 as a record and the quality of teams that they are beating and beating soundly over the last couple of weeks, it's just really damn impressive, man. I think back to some of the teams you hear about now, right, where we say, hey, best start in over 20 years, right? But those teams 20 years ago were not playing the competition that Texas is playing right now, right? They were playing in the Big 12, where you maybe had 2 other ranked teams besides Texas in the entire conference, and you're playing maybe 1 top 10 program in a season at most. You're not playing 3 at home in the span of 5 weeks, right? So I just think when you add everything together, it really is the most impressive start that I can remember from a Texas baseball team. And, that's not me saying they're the best team that we've had, but the best start, right? Obviously, all of the important stuff is still ahead of them. But the way that they've been able to just show up every weekend, respond to injuries, beat good opponents, and just continue to roll is super impressive, man. So much credit goes out to the coaching staff and to the players. As a fan, I couldn't be more proud of what I'm seeing right now, and really just crossing my fingers and hoping that they can hold on the last 4 weeks of the regular season and keep that momentum going into the postseason.
Yeah, the last 4 weeks will not be easy. We've got Texas A&M this weekend, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. We know that's going to be a dogfight. We know, regardless of what the records are, that's just going to be one of those ones where you can just throw the record out the window. It doesn't matter. It's going to be tough baseball. Both teams are going to be playing tough, playing hard, digging in about as deep as you can possibly dig in to try to win a baseball game all 3 nights. I think it's important for both of the schools. It's important for both of those coaching staffs. I mean, you're going to see like the kitchen sink get thrown at both teams this entire weekend. So it should be an exciting weekend of baseball. We're really excited to be down there, hang out for all the festivities. Should be a good time. I mean, I feel like it should be probably bigger environment than even LSU, which that was pretty big and pretty fun. So I think if you're able to get to the Dish this weekend, definitely do that, because LSU weekend was an absolute blast. Win, lose, or draw. That was a fun weekend. Lots going on. I think this weekend's going to eclipse it. And then they go on the road to Arkansas after that. That will not be easy, despite the fact that Texas A&M just went and took 2 from Arkansas. The story of Texas A&M, not just the whole season, but this SEC season so far, kind of wild, like the absolute 180 they've done. And again, I don't want to get too far into that right now. I want to keep talking about these Texas Longhorns and this Auburn Tigers series. We talked last week about left field, just like needing to find somebody that could step up, get some production, some consistent production. And we've seen some of the guys that have played out there in left field make some plays defensively, make some plays offensively at the plate. But we haven't seen very consistent. And I'm excluding Tommy Farmer. Tommy Farmer's flipped over to right field. Tommy Farmer's done a hell of a job this year when he played in left field. But when we've had other guys out in left field, and I'm not trying to knock those guys, I'm just saying we haven't had like the consistent play at the plate that we've needed. In comes freshman, and we've talked about this for the last few weeks, especially with Zach. I've been trying to get Zach to say it. Like, we're going to see Jonah Williams. I wanted Zach to say it. He just never would do it. I don't know. I just felt like I heard Sloss at one point making some comments about Jonah Williams, and I was just like, that dude's about to start playing some, because like you just don't randomly talk about the freshman kid unless he's like catching your eye. And man, did he come in this weekend? And we'll find out if that's Jonah Williams, just consistent Jonah Williams. But what a hell of a first couple of starts for Jonah Williams. Talk about it.
Yeah, it was interesting. So obviously there was a ton of buzz around Williams getting that start on Friday night, and everyone was talking about it, and he backed up, right? He looked the part. And after the game, Sloss said, I think someone asked, just take us through this progression, right? Like, this kid's a 17-year-old kid. He's supposed to be in high school right now, playing his high school season of baseball. He came in with a broken collarbone that he suffered during his junior year of high school football. And so if you think about how long it's been since he's actually played a meaningful game of baseball, it's pretty incredible just how special this kind of is, right? But Sloss broke it down. He said, look, he came in the fall, and from day one, he's just been bought in. He's like, whatever you need from me, whatever it's going to take. If I need to be the cheerleader, I'll be the cheerleader. I don't care. I just want to contribute. I want to soak it all in. They said, he's never late. He's bought in from day one. He doesn't walk around trying to push people around. He's just there to help support them and kind of be that glue guy. And they said, in the fall, they had no idea what they were going to do with this kid in the spring, because he landed in January, and it was like, okay, what do we do? Right? We have no idea what to do with this kid, because he can't lift. He can't really run, and he certainly can't pitch or hit right now. And so they said, look, if there's going to be any room, it's going to be because an injury happens. And it was a little bit of foretelling back in before the spring. It was like, there's no way this kid has a chance to play with an outfield of what we have right now.
Right.
And then obviously Max Ballou goes down, and it was one of those things where Jonah Williams had just continued to progress. So he was able to start hitting off the tee. Then he was taking at reps with the pitching machine. And then he was finally getting live ABs. And then he was getting into sim games. But the crazy thing was, Sloss was like, hey, only the last 2 weeks now has he been at a level where we felt comfortable with him being in the box, and that Tulowitzki could actually make some adjustments to his swing to really make sure that he's kind of honed in. And he said, at some point you just got to throw him in there because we need some production. We need something. We need a spark out in left field to get things going. And I mean, his job until he loses it now. So it's crazy.
Yeah. And Sean, from the fan perspective, the thing that stood out to us, right, being right out there in left field, close to all of it, is just the swagger that he has, man. You can just tell he's got all the confidence in the world. Even his first start when he was running out there on Friday, man, you could just tell he was ready to go and locked in. And he just kind of continued throughout the whole series to show that confidence both at the plate and out in the field. So it's exciting stuff, right? But I think you also have to keep in mind that it is just 2 games, right?
Sure.
And we got to see that over a long stretch for me to really get excited, right? I started seeing people on Twitter over the weekend comparing him to Ivan Melendez, and I'm like, whoa, y'all need to calm down, bro. Like, seriously, it's been 2 games. But I think you can see the talent and the ability there. And again, I've been the one stating for the last 2 weeks, somebody had to step up in left field, right? We started to see the offense get a little stagnant. We started to struggle a little bit at the plate towards the back end of the lineup, and we just absolutely needed that jolt. So he provided it at the right time, and really just hoping that he can keep that going moving forward. I think it would make all the difference in the world, especially as you wait on a guy like Max to come back. So really just a shout out to Jonah. He was so impressive over the weekend and really fun to watch.
Yeah, you look at you look at the sort of the pitching, we're worried about Spencer. We don't know what's going to happen with Spencer. It's getting late in the season. Some of these arms might start getting a little tired and a little sore and all that stuff. We've not seen like this explosion out of the bats, and we saw that over this weekend. And what a hell of a time it would be for like everybody all of a sudden to just start swinging a good stick, and you really start to see the potential of this lineup really come through consistently. It'd be a great time for it because, like we said, we've got some arms that are a little sore. So we gotta pick those guys up. And man, what was really interesting to me is we saw Jonah Williams a couple of times in some Tuesday night games. We saw him get some at bats late in games. Just kind of get out there and see what you can do. He didn't look really comfortable. Maybe he didn't look uncomfortable, but he just didn't look like I don't know, like a mature hitter, I guess it'd be and you don't expect it. Like we said, he's 17. He hasn't played baseball in forever. But man, this weekend, he really stood in there and took some really good at bats. Like, I mean, he watched pitches. He laid off pitches. He literally waited for pitches he could hit and then smoked them. And man, I saw the stat line from Texas baseball. I think he was the second highest average off the bat for the whole weekend.
Yep.
So yeah, man, he's like putting the ball and play hard. And you just look at him, that dude, you mentioned swagger, Mark. Like, he is just like one of those dudes. Like, he can just do anything. Like, I think he could just go pick up pickleball and probably be like the pickleball national champion or something. He's just that type of dude that he just does sports. Like, he can play sports. So yeah, man, I was really excited. I'm happy for him that he was able to get in and just explode the way he did. I mean, you could argue, and I don't think it's really that hard of an argument. He won the game Friday, like offensively for Texas. Like he put, I don't know how many runs did they score Friday? 5, and he had 3 of them.
No, I think we had 8, and he had 4 RBI, right? I think
he had
3 RBI.
Okay, yeah, something like that. But I know he had multiple RBI hits. But yeah, I think that final was 8-3 on Friday, if I'm remembering correctly.
And I lose track of stuff, man. But anyway, great to see Jonah Williams, the other guy that just, man, has had himself a week, and he's the. What is he? He's the I saw he was the SEC player of the week. Who was the other SEC player of the week?
Jace Laviolette with 5 home runs, who hit .417 over a 3-game series against the number 2 team in the nation.
Who?
He hit 5 home runs against Arkansas?
Yeah.
Shit,
Jace Laviolette?
He had 11 RBIs, 5 home runs, scored 10 runs.
Yeah, but Arkansas is not even good. We already know that. We've been talking about that for like the last 2 weeks, man. Okay.
But
I'll
Sean,
go with
it's
SEC
interesting you
player of
say
the week.
that.
That's fair.
It's interesting you say that, Jonah maybe looked a little overmatched in his first at bats. The first thing that Schlossnagle talked about today when we were talking about Jonah's, that the thing that impresses the coaches most is how well he sees the ball. They said that dude will watch pitches, and Schlossnagle even said he's like, there was a couple of times where he watched the pitch that I was like, damn, that was a good pitch to hit. Like, you should be swinging. But he said, like, he doesn't get phased by 2 strike counts. In fact, both of his hits, or a lot of his hits,
On Friday
came with 2
both
strikes.
his hits Friday were
They
2
said-
out or 2 strike hits.
They said the thing that's like impressed them the most is the fact that from day one, he immediately bought in with what Tulo and Sloss were doing offensively in terms of seeing your pitch and waiting for your pitch and hitting what you can hit. And they said that just, you see guys on the team that still struggle with that from bat to bat. And Cody mentioned the bunt. He said, Slauson was like, hey, I didn't call that. He's like, he's just a baseball player. Like, he saw that there was a gap
Yeah, the
because
third baseman was deep and he
playing back, and he laid down a bunt. He goes, he's just a baseball player. And then what's funny is you talk about confidence. We were talking to him after Friday night's game, and his older brother went second round draft pick and has played in the pros. And someone asked him, like, who's the best player and baseball player in your family? He goes, oh yeah, me. Like, with no hesitation whatsoever. Like, the dude is all confidence.
Yeah, he's the greatest thing probably about him, he's a great teammate. We've seen him sit in that dugout all year long and just act like that's the best place he wanted to be, having a great time with his teammates. And now it's his time, and he got out there and did really well. So it will be interesting to see, Mark. You kind of pointed it out. It'll be interesting to see. It's just 2 games. They were really good 2 games. He's going to have ups and downs, and that's baseball. So if you're out there expecting Jonah Williams to hit 500 every weekend, probably not happening. We'll take it if he does, but probably not going to happen. So yeah, don't get down on Jonah. 17-year-old kid. I think he turns 18. In another couple weeks, right? Is what they said. I feel like on the broadcast. That's crazy. I told my wife that on Saturday, and she was like, "What?" And I go, "Yeah, that dude's 17. Like, he's literally supposed to still be in high school." And she's like, "No way." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, he's just that dude."
And I'll tell you what, man, him, man, in left field alongside Gasparino. Those are 2 big ass outfielders. They're
real big outfield. Like, Jonah Williams is a big dude.
Yeah, he is.
And what's funny is they talked about the fact that, he wasn't really able to lift weights or anything because of that broken clavicle when he got there. And they said since January of getting there and then finally being able to work out, they said his body, like, he's not normal. Like, he's a football player. Like, the way he lifts, the way he runs, the way he operates, they said it's insane. And it's true. He's a big ass boy. Like, his neck is as big around as my thighs.
Yeah, he's a physically impressive dude. And you mentioned it, like him and Gaspo out there. People have got to be like, shit, we're never getting the ball anywhere between center field and left field. Because they can cover some ground too. I mean, Jonah Williams, you saw his speed on that where he scored from second base on that little single. That he can run. So yeah, really excited for Jonah Williams. Also, we kind of got into it. Kimball Schusler, co SEC player of the week. Man, holy crap! What did I say he hit the last week? Like 714 or something for the week.
Wow!
And
for the weekend, he was
7 over
12.
the weekend. Yeah, just insane. Can't keep him in the park either. Really great. I mean, it was funny because I believe it was you, Zach, where you were talking about Sloss saying, our first baseman hasn't even hit a home run yet. And we're like, 6 or 8, 10 weeks into the season. You just don't see that in the SEC. And then all of a sudden, it must have pissed him off because he's hit several. I mean, what's he up to now? Like 5, I think?
5 or 6, I think.
Yeah. So the shoes is definitely loose. And we will hope that he remains hot because getting those bats down in the bottom of the lineup or the middle of the lineup that can do damage like that, I mean, that's hard for a pitching staff. If you got to go through a couple guys and you got to worry about pitching around a couple guys, that's one thing. But when you start getting guys up and down that and you just never get a break, that's got to be just mentally exhausting for pitchers. because you got to almost be perfect. Like you make a mistake, and there's a good chance it's definitely getting hit hard. You might get an out, but it's going to get hit hard. And so, the pucker factor for a lot of pitchers with this lineup, if they can continue hitting the ball like that, really, really rough on pitching staffs. Max Grubbs, I thought, awesome job. I mean, we have talked about Max Grubbs probably 5-6 weeks in a row. He just finds a way to come in and just extend a game. And we really needed it Thursday night with Spencer going out a little early. He comes in, what did he pitch? 4 1/3, no runs, I believe, 4 strikeouts, 3 strikeouts, something like that. Maybe a walk here and there.
3 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts.
Yeah,
he's
great line,
pro, man. He grinds you down. He doesn't get face. He just goes out there and grinds, and you look up and you're like, oh shit, the game's over. I got grubbed.
Yeah, I got grubbed.
Right.
Exactly.
And you even have to give him credit on Thursday, right? Because that's coming in a situation where it's like he's not mentally prepared to go into the game, right?
No.
He's probably just standing around like, oh, I'm not going in for at least 3 or 4 more innings. And then next thing you know, Spencer's getting pulled from for an injury, and he just goes right out there, man, and handles his business. So can't say enough good things about him. But I will say, Zach, that's one of the things I'm kind of most interested in now that we're in a period where we're without Jared Spencer, is how does Grubbs' role change, if it does at all. I'm very interested to see that, and interested to see kind of where he'll get plugged in and if anything changes over the course of the next few weeks.
So I mean, I'm no pitching coach by any means, but for me, I honestly think, if you want to maximize Grubbs, and I'm assuming they're going to put Ruger Riojas on Friday night against A&M. I actually don't look at that as a necessity that you necessarily pair him up now with Ruger.
Mm-hmm.
Ruger has the ability to go deep in a game.
Yep.
And so, again, and I didn't talk at length about this with Schlossnagle, but, one of the things I like about Ruger is, because he bounces back so well, you pair Ruger with a guy like Flores because they're very different motions, and it looks very different. And maybe you go Ruger, Flores to just bridge to get to Volantis, and you give Volantis 2 innings. That's really a lethal combo right there. And then what it does is allows you to push Max back a day, and now you pair him with Luke Harrison. So now you have 2 completely different guys, again, with Harrison on a Saturday. And if Harrison only gives you 5, which he, consistently does, now you've got a really good pairing on Saturday. So it's not like you're just throwing out the bathwater. Like, if you don't have Spencer, you still have the ability to move these guys around. And people were saying, oh, let's put Grubbs at starter. Grubbs is too valuable where he is right now. Volantis is too valuable where he is. Like, these guys have the ability to be starters, absolutely. But if you start pairing these guys up and you think about the matchups and how you want to see the lineups 1 through 9 and not have them flipped over so much. Again, maybe this is just blind faith, but I still really like the pieces that Max has at his disposal. And even if you don't use Flores on a Friday night, maybe use a Duplantier or even a guy like Saunier or McCreary to kind of bridge to Volantis. Well, now you have a Jason Flores on a Sunday. And really then you can probably bring Volantis back, assuming he didn't get completely wrecked on Friday night. And you still, again, are in a strength position where you can piece it all together. So, Spencer being out is definitely not ideal, but there's still a lot there. And, you going back to the hitting real quick on Kimball, we talk so much about Max and the job he's done on the pitching side, but, not enough credits given to the hitting where they're still continuing to make adjustments. Kimball, the reason he's unlocked his power is because working with Tulo, and they switched a couple of things up, and all of a sudden it's like, I found power, like, holy shit. And so, it's pretty neat to see, because all of his home runs have come since March, 20th or something like that.
I'm fired up to see him against A&M.
Yeah, he loves playing them.
Yeah. I mean, I think, Zach, what you're talking about is really, kind of Hank's comment down there. He starts naming off a bunch of names. We could do this, we could do that. I think there are a lot of combinations that Max Wiener, Coach Sloss can throw it at teams and be really highly effective. So I think that'll be kind of the interesting sort of chess match down the stretch. We got 4 more SEC series. You know, who's going to be available, kind of up in the air. How long will they be available for, if they are available? We just don't know. But I think there's a lot of pieces there, and I think that's what'll be interesting to see is how they use those pieces. And again, man, I think the thing you mentioned blind faith, and I don't think it's blind faith, but I think the reason we should all be a little bit optimistic is the last few weeks we've really seen some guys step up that we haven't seen all season long and come into some SEC situations and pitch really well. And I think if nothing else, that builds some confidence in those guys. They're all talented guys. A lot of it's just in their head. Come out and throw strikes and trust your defense type of deal. And then, when you get in that situation where you got to make a pitch, be able to mentally go and make that pitch. So yeah, I am optimistic. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but I still think there's a lot of arms in that bullpen that can come out and give people a lot of problems.
Yeah, I mean, the Sausangle said today, and he said after postgame, he said, look, McCreary was the first guy we were bringing in the 8th inning. If Kimmel had not walked it off right there, they were turning the ball over to McCreary because they really like what they've seen from him now that he's healthy, and they really like the kind of arm that he brings to the table out of the bullpen. He said he felt kind of bad about Moffitt because, he had brought him up 3 times and got him warm and loose 3 times, thinking they were going to have to go to him, and they never did. And finally they did go to him. And so they were like, look, he was throwing 93 instead of his normal 96 or 97. And, he just wasn't nearly as sharp as he usually is. But, yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of meat on the bone. I mean, it's like I said, it's not insignificant. Like anytime you lose your Friday night guy, it's going to change things. But they still got some good talent there in the arm pen. And then, the other good news, people have been asking all season about Ace Whitehead. He threw in a sim game this past week and looked really good. The coaches, Sausangle specifically said, hey, look, we really want to see him, in one of these midweek non-conference games here soon, just to see what it looks like live pitching, right? Because sim games are always trying to simulate the game, but it's never live for opposing batters. But if they're able to get an inning or 2 innings out of him going forward, that's a guy that has a lot of experience, and then 2, that's just another crafty lefty that they can turn to. So, yeah.
What about a guy like Will Mercer? That's people have been kind of asking about Will Mercer the last week or so. You went out early with some soreness, I believe, and it's kind of been like we're just trying to figure out what we're going to do with him. Have we heard anything about Will at all in terms of where he's at and getting back, or is he coming back this year? What do we know about that, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, he re-aggravated that arm. It's likely that he'll be back, but there hasn't really necessarily been a need to bring him back in at this point, and they're not going to just throw him into the fire. So
yeah, we don't need to rush him for sure.
A midweek non-conference game is a likely possibility that you'd first see him. Like you're not going to see him just get rolled out against A&M for sure. But they're going to start bringing some guys out. Tomorrow night against Texas State, I would not be surprised to see 6 different arms in that game, just as they try to get some guys some action. And I love it because Cade Bing always gives you a good start. And I think he went 5 scoreless the first time against Texas State, which is always good to see. But I feel like you're going to see a lot of arms. You're going to see 1 per inning pretty much however after Bing goes out.
Zach, what was the injury with McCreary? What was he kind of sidelined with?
Just shoulder, issue with the shoulder. It was nothing, not Tommy John or, UCL or anything like crazy like that. It was just, being a hard thrower, he throws up to 95, 96. He looked really good in the fall. Well, he was one of those guys that kind of circled as, this is one of those guys that I'd really like to see on the back end of games, just because he's not going to throw a lot of pitches at you in terms of mixing it up, but he shapes it and he tunnels the ball really well, that fastball. So it'll be interesting to see what he looks like.
Yeah.
So real quick, let's jump into the 3 best. We've already talked about these guys, but we got to give them their flowers. So they say, what do y'all like that saying? Give them their flowers. I don't really like that.
I do not.
Okay. So we'll never say that again. What
not
will we
horse
say?
racing
We'll
here.
say we're giving them their due or their props or something cool sounding like that. I don't think you've ever heard "Give Flowers" in a rap song, so I'm not sure you should ever say it probably. But anyway, the three best for the Auburn series. Mark, we'll let you start off. Tell us who you had.
Yeah, the first one's going to be real obvious, right? I feel like Kimball Schuessler just had a fantastic weekend overall and was just so impressive, especially on Saturday. The way that he led that offense was really nuts. And then also had Grubbs down and Jonah Williams as well. Just Grubbs, his ability to come in kind of in a pinch on Thursday and do what was needed was impressive. And then we've already kind of talked at length about Jonah Williams and how great he was. I do think a guy that I just have to mention is just giving props to Ike Irish for being an absolute beast on the Auburn side. I feel like he's the only guy that did a damn thing for them all weekend. And
Did he
I
though?
was like,
Golly.
I was screaming my ass off on Saturday when we threw that fastball right down the middle, the first at bat, and he hits one out for his fourth home run of the weekend. I was like, why are we giving him anything to hit? He's literally the only guy that's done anything for their team the entire game or the entire weekend. So just got to mention him, man. I feel like it's been a while since we've gone against an opponent and a guy
And it
like
was
that
like
just
that, right?
continued to beat our ass. So
Yeah,
shout
tip of
out
the
to him,
cap
man.
to
He was
Ike
really
Irish,
impressive.
man. All right, Zach, who'd you have?
Yeah, I mean, Schuessler at the top, obviously. He was just beast mode. Probably the best I've ever seen him look in a game ever. He just, he feels like he's kind of put it all together. He's kind of been that glue guy, the really good defensive player, but the bat's been hit or miss over the years. And it seems like this year, Tulo's just been able to unlock a little bit extra there. Max Grubbs, of course, I feel like you might as well just put him on my top three every single weekend because that's my dude right there, especially with that stash. He looks great, just rocking it. And then I actually had Jason Flores. I went against the grain of all of y'all. Instead of picking Jonah, I went with Jason Flores. He's a really talented freshman, and I think people fail to realize that, if you start thinking and projecting to the future, he's going to play a huge role out of the pen, and he's a guy that he's not just a thrower. He's a true pitcher, right? I mean, his short time on the 40 acres, he's completely redeveloped his repertoire. He's added a new pitch, which is a splitter. And if y'all remember, there's that nasty strikeout of Ike Irish on the inside. That was him unleashing this brand new splitter that he hasn't thrown before and just making Irish look foolish at the plate. And that was the first guy he pitched against, if I remember correctly. But
he struck him out in 3 pitches.
Yeah, you go 3 2/3. You give up 2 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. Especially with the potential loss of Spencer, he becomes a really vital person because you can use him as a starter, you can bring him as a reliever. But I just thought he did a really great job against the lineup and keeping him off kilter when things weren't always, they weren't close at the time, but it was just like, at any given moment, a SEC team is good enough to come back in an instant. So
I think there's
really
a lot of merit in that.
Door.
You kind of, it's like you see it in football a lot. Team will get a big lead and then they kind of back off a little bit and start, celebrating. And you could see that in baseball too sometimes. And yeah, you're right. He came in and just completely slammed the door and just said, we're not doing that today. We've talked about it multiple times and we probably will continue as long as this team keeps playing well. You could pick a lot of different guys on this 3 best. We could almost have a, probably 5 or 6 long list of honorable mentions every single week that are just as good as some of the guys that we picked as the 3 best. One guy that's not on here that he had a really good weekend, Dylan Valanis. He's been on ours for the last few weeks. He's been a guy that man, I think it's not his fault. He just expect it now, and he just keeps coming in and just doing. It's like not even amazing anymore. It's just like, that's just Dylan Valanis. That's just what he does.
And you say that, but he went 3 innings, gave up 1 hit, and struck out 6.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He had an amazing weekend.
It's like, What the hell are you doing?
Well,
Get
that's
out of
he
here.
did it to himself, Zach. He did it to himself by just completely doing it every single time he goes out there. He's gonna have to strike out like 7 or 8 next time to get me really excited about it and get back on this 3 best. So Dylan, you just got to do what you got to do. I had Schuessler, obviously, dude, 667 on the weekend, a double, 3 home runs, 10 RBI. His batting average went up 30 points in 3 games. That's pretty good, right? And then Jonah Williams, his debut, 2 starts, hit 555, 3 RBI, a stolen base. And again, I mentioned it earlier. I thought he looked really good in those at bats, man. He did not just look like a kid that hasn't played baseball and was just physically talented and just happened to hit the baseball. Like, he took really good at bats, waited for his pitches, made good swings, got the ball in play. And then I had Grubbs as well. Grubbs, to me, is almost like that hidden 4th starter. Like, he could just come in and eat. I mean, he's a reliever. He ate up 4 1/3. We've talked about it all season long. 5 1/3 or 5 2/3 is like the average start for SEC pitchers. So, and he could have, I mean, he probably could have gone further, but why do it, right? You never know when we might need him again. So, yeah, so Max Grubbs was my guy on that. So, yeah, man, tons of guys this weekend. Another guy that I thought was really impressive, didn't see a lot of the stat stuff. Ryan Galvan must have saw 100 pitches this weekend. That dude, his first at bat, I forgot which day it was 12 pitches. Yep. The dude pitched 12 pitches to get Ryan. I don't even think he got him. I think he walked him. They were talking about it up in the booth. Like, there will be guys that go an entire game and do not see 12 pitches. And he did it in the first bat. And then his second at bat was really lengthy as well. So he's seeing the ball really, you talk about seeing the ball. He's got to be seeing it well to go that deep in counts. And he just keeps fouling pitches off until you make a mistake. And then he makes you pay. So, yeah, El Cuda really seeing it. It's like a beach ball right now for Cuda as well. Let's jump in.
To give him,
Zach, go ahead.
Quick, or Sean, real quick. I forgot to give him shit after the game on Saturday because he pimped that double that he hit the first inning on Saturday. He thought that was gone.
Yeah, he did.
He hit that ball and dropped his bat, and then he was like, "Oh, I better start running."
That would have been a triple, Cuda. That would have been a triple.
And Sean, the other guy that I think that most people, and again, I look at the game a little differently sometimes, but just because how close I follow it, but the guy that I actually wanted to put on my top 3, even though he didn't necessarily have the numbers, was Adrian Rodriguez. Yeah, he's been dealing with that hand edema for so long, well, since the Missouri series. And granted, he went 2 for 11 on the week, or I'm sorry, he went 2 for 6 on the weekend. But that game on Saturday, he started to look like Rodriguez at the plate. He was hitting the ball, he was getting it squared up properly, his timing was right. Like, it was just everything you want to see from Rodriguez that when he was hitting earlier in the season. And we asked Sawsang about it after the game, and he said, he probably had the best day in the cages that he's had the entire season. Like, even before he was injured, like, he looked like Rodriguez. And so, if you want to start thinking about, you talk about the lineup 1 through 9, you start thinking, well, shit, if we get Rodriguez back now to the same health and same hitting, plus you get a guy like Jonah who has the ability to, he may not do it every single game because he's a freshman, but now you've really starting to kind of plug all these holes that everyone's kind of been searching for since that Missouri series when both he and Max Ballou went down. And, the other guy that just very quietly hit 400 on the weekend is Tommy Farmer. I mean, he's starting to put it together as well at the bottom of the lineup. He's got all the freedom in the world, and it's like, wow, okay. If Tommy Farmer can hit 400 on a weekend, Texas isn't going to lose a lot of games. I mean, It's just like there's no break for a pitcher because they're going through the top of the lineup where you've got power and you've got guys like Galvan, like you talked about, where they're just going to take you 10 pitches deep. And you're like, okay, I get a break. Oh, no, never mind. I get Rodriguez. I get Tommy Farmer. I got Kimball. I get this guy named Jonah who looks like he's about to break me in half on the plate.
I get Will Gasparino, who's really streaky, obviously, so far this season.
Yeah.
But, man, you make a mistake to that dude, and he's going to put it over the street like it ain't nothing. So yeah, there are no breaks. There's a lot of stuff that makes you go, damn, I don't really want to throw a pitch over the plate to any of these guys in this lineup. So good stuff, man. This has been a hell of a fun year. All I can hope is that we just keep rolling, man. We talked about getting to 15. We're at 16 now. We got 4 series left. I don't want to say it, but I feel like we're looking at least 20 wins. I mean, even if the wheels kind of come off, we're looking at 20. I mean, there's no way we're getting swept 4 series in a row. Like, we're going to win a game or 2 out of these last 4 series. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
jinx the baseball gods, because ball don't lie. But
well, yeah, I know ball don't lie.
Texas has 12 conference games. They need 4 wins to get to 20. And if par chance they get to 20 wins,
they're going to be a top 8 seed.
Needs 7 wins to tie them with a conference record. LSU and Tennessee would both need 8 wins to finish out their 12. So, I mean, realistically,
and they all play each other.
3 to 4 wins in Texas. You start looking at, they've locked up the SEC at this point. I mean, it's
that's kind of what I'm getting at. We talked last week about them, popping into that number 1 overall seed for the first time this season. Like, they're in really good shape, despite having some guys banged up, and there being some uncertainty even in the lineup, and who's going to play, who's not, where are they going to play. They've done such good work so far this season that they've got themselves in a really great position. It's baseball; you never know what'll happen, but they're in the best possible position they could be in right now as we finish these last 4 weeks of SEC play, and I think, again, that's got to make every Texas fan excited. Let's talk about this midweek at Texas State. We did this a few weeks ago. Not a great team. 19-20, 8-10 in the what conference are they in? The Sun Belt Conference. But they are 1-0 against Texas. I was looking at some stats for them this morning. 19 of their 21 pitchers haven't pitched an inning per game this season. They got 2 guys that have pitched 28% of their innings this entire season, and they're pretty good. And then it's kind of the same thing on offense. 5 guys have 48% of their at-bats on this team. So they kind of do it platoon style. So I think we're going to see what we saw that Tuesday, that fateful Tuesday night when they beat us. We're going to see like probably 7 or 8, 9 guys on the mound. Oh, yeah. And we're going to see a lot of pinch hitting, and it's just going to, and they're going to take hacks. And then they sold the place out. And I know they did that. I think that was it last year they did that, or a couple years before they did that.
They sell it out every year against Texas. I mean,
there'll be people lined up for yards, hundreds of yards to get into that place. So it'll be a wild thing. The good news, we tend to beat them down in San Marcos, well, as they tend to beat us here. So, I hate to be like this, but I don't even almost care about these midweeks anymore. Like, I mean, go play good baseball. Go play some good baseball. Like, play good baseball. If you lose, I don't really give a shit, because we know Texas State, we know these schools are going to throw everything they can just so they can get on Twitter and brag about how they beat the number 1 team in the country 2 times this year. And I honestly, man, I just don't care. Stay healthy and just don't piss down your leg. That's the only thing. Like, remain locked in and focused, and I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 guys offensively you got to watch out for are Ryan Farber and Chase Mora. Those guys are just, and they're legit dudes. I mean, Chase Mora is an absolute dude at the plate. Why he ended up at Texas State instead of some of the other bigger universities chasing him, I still don't know. But both him and Farber are very, very good. To your point, Texas has been good in San Marcos. They're 10-2. They've got a 5-game winning streak going back to 2019. I am glad that the home runs are way down for San Marcos, or for Texas State this year, because they can no longer call themselves Slam Marcus, which always drove me nuts. But yeah, I mean, they went 1-2 against South Alabama this past weekend. It's just, they're not a good team right now under Trouty, but they have the ability to steal a game. You saw it against Southern Miss. They went 1-2 against them, and Southern Miss is a really good Sun Belt school. So if Texas doesn't play well, then yeah, they're going to get beat. And the crazy thing was, like, that Tuesday night game against Texas, Cade Bing went 5 innings without giving up a run. And then Texas was about an inch from tying that game up very, very late in the game. And so it's not like Texas just completely fell apart or anything like that.
No, I don't think they played bad. I mean, I think,
it's just
they
baseball.
held,
That's all
it was baseball. They held Texas State to 5 runs. You hold somebody to 5 runs, and you gotta think you got a puncher's chance at winning a game like that. And it just didn't work out for them. So, any thoughts from you, Mark, on Texas State?
I'll be honest with you, Sean. I feel exactly the same way that you do. I think if it was any other week, I would be fired up about getting a shot to get revenge at Texas State. But let's be honest, man. This is the biggest weekend of the regular season for Texas baseball, and we've known that since Schlossnagle and his press conference over the summer, right? So I don't give a damn about tomorrow night's game. I hope we play well, and I think we're probably going to win. But I don't want to see us pitch any frontline pitchers if we can avoid it. Like Zach was mentioning earlier, I'm expecting we're going to probably roll out 6 or 7 guys, try and get some of the second line guys some work and some action. But I think if we're being serious, right, Texas is probably already starting to focus on Friday and the weekend ahead. So best of luck to the squad, and I hope they play well. But at the end of the day, tomorrow night's not going to matter a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah, and Schlossnagle even said, he's like, we're not taking some big name pitchers. They're not going to even travel with the squad. I mean, it's not that they're not focused on the game. It's all about getting guys into the game to get some action and pitch, because you got to get those guys prepared. So. Yeah.
MLH 10's calling it. He says we're going to win big against Tech. Baseball is a funny game. I was just sitting there saying I don't give a damn, but I'll tell you what, if we manage to just go and kick the shit out of Texas State, I'll probably troll that freaking Barstool Texas State account for the rest of the week until it's time to get ready for the real series this weekend. I probably won't, but man, it is annoying to see the 3 Twitter accounts that follow Texas State baseball just have a time at your expense. I don't like that at all. Them's fighting words. I'm with you, MLH. I hope the boys come in and they're just like, damn it, let's just put this thing completely out of reach and let's get back on down the road and get ready for these Texas A&M Aggies. Speaking of those Aggies, 23-16 on the season, 8-10 in SEC. But man, after they were 1-9. And they have peeled off some big-time series wins, preseason number 1. Listen, these guys got swept by Bama at home to start SEC play. They got swept on the road by Vandy in their second series. They lost a home series to Kentucky. They get no-hit run ruled by Tennessee and Knoxville in game 1, and then the light came on. They've won 9 of their last 10. They got road series wins at Tennessee and Arkansas, swept South Carolina in between that. To me, the difference is the offense. They had 4 runs per game those first 10 SEC games. Now they're at almost 11 runs per game since. What do we think we're going to see out of it? I mean, did they just get hot? Is this finally we're seeing the potential? What do you think, Zach?
All the above. I mean, they were pitching really well. Their starting frontline guys were pitching really well to start the season, but they had no bullpen, right? I mean, they went through the bullpen and the bullpen just got beat up. Their offense was just stagnant. They weren't clicking. They lost Grahovic, and that was a real kind of big emotional loss. As much as they want to say it wasn't, you could see it in their faces. They could feel it. They were not having fun, and then things change. You win one game and that all of a sudden can suddenly hit, and all of a sudden they've started putting things together, and now all of a sudden you see them 1 through 9 just hitting the shit out of the ball. I mean, Jason Lavallette's made some adjustments, and he's back to in the 1-1 conversation. He's found his power again. He's found his stroke. And so, yeah, you have a team from the hitting side that was just way too talented to have that kind of record and that kind of performance. And so they've started putting it together, and you're seeing what they, realistically should have been all along. If we're being honest, but that's not how baseball's played. But that's where they are right now, and so yeah, I know it's going to be an interesting series for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the pitchers. You got Prager, Lampkin, Patton. They're all right in the 4s ERA. I mean, not amazing, but not bad by any stretch of the imagination. So their starting pitcher's good. And then this kid, Weston Moss, to me, he's got to be kind of like their Grubbs or their Valanis. This dude's under 2 ERA, and he's pitched a lot of innings this year. All 4 of those guys, lots of good stuff. They have to. Lots of Ks. They strike people out. So, yeah, man, they've had their ups and downs, but I think if any Texas fans expect this just to be a pushover type weekend, I don't think it's going to be. I mean, I think it's going to be kind of a dogfight type of deal. And I think the keys to me, if you're Texas, just don't expand the zone, stay patient, see your pitch, swing, hit your pitch, limit the Aggie long ball, because man, if they're not hitting home runs, I don't think they're scoring a lot. I mean, I watched a little bit of that Arkansas series, and it was ridiculous, man. It was like a damn home run derby. Every time, I'd look away and I'd hear ping, I'd turn and look, and the ball's going over the damn fence. I don't know how sustainable that is. And then I think obviously keep it clean on defense. Those are kind of like obvious things in baseball, but you'll see it sometimes where the hitters will kind of expand the zone, get a little itchy at the plate, and that can make a big difference. I mean, to me, that's why we lost to Texas State a few weeks ago. We just started swinging at pitches that weren't ever strikes. You're just getting a little too amped up to get something done. I think the toughest thing about baseball is just letting the baseball come to you. Let the game come to you. And make your swing. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see. Mark, what are your thoughts on the series, and what kind of activities do we got maybe going out in left field this weekend? I believe you're on mute.
God, I apologize for that.
No worries.
I am so much looking forward to this series. I think you're going to see emotion in this series, like something that we've probably never seen at Dish Falk. Zach and Sean, I can't remember another series that has so much crossover between teams, right? You have the old A&M coaching staff at Texas. You have guys like Caleb Longley who were at Texas that are now at Texas A&M. You have Gavin Cash coming back as an Aggie. He started his career at Texas. You have guys like Kimball Schuessler who started their career at A&M and now they're standouts at Texas. We have recruits that are playing now like Adrian Rodriguez who were committed to A&M and were planning to go there, and now they're stars at Texas. So just unlimited storylines basically. And I can tell you, whether the coaches and the teams want to say it publicly or not, these teams want to beat each other so bad right now. And they know that it's going to be a punch in the face to whoever drops this regular season series. So I'm just so stoked to see it. And I think it's going to be fantastic baseball. I'm actually kind of happy that A&M's turned it around and they've beaten some other really good teams. I think it gives the series that much more juice. But then from the weekend perspective, Sean, I do expect it to be the biggest crowds that we've had out there this year. So we're going to be doing fun stuff from the tailgate perspective. I'm sure we'll have some special cocktails and food out there throughout the course of the weekend, man. So hopefully the weather will be beautiful and Longhorn Nation will come out, have some cold beer out in left field, and cheer the Horns on to victory.
Yeah, it sounds like a good time. You touched on something that I think is really important. Both of these teams want to win this game so bad. I think the team that can just come in and treat this like another series has the edge in this deal. I don't think you win baseball is not football. I don't think you win baseball by trying harder and being more aggressive and doing anything different than you would normally do. So the team that can control all of that and really just stay inside of what they want to do, that's the team that's going to win this series. in my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think if we see, like, for instance, if Texas just comes in and treats this like another weekend and everybody's just dialed in, they're going to be tough to beat. And I think the same thing for A&M. Like, if Texas gets all wound up about it, oh God, we got to win, and all that stuff, and starts sort of stepping outside of themselves, I think that's where the danger is in a series like this. So it'll be interesting how the teams handle all of that emotion and all of that excitement. And yeah, man, you mentioned it, unlimited storylines. Absolutely. 100%. Let's get some predictions real quick, because Mark, I know you got to jump out of here. We'll start with you, Mark. What do you think is going to happen this weekend?
I'm predicting Texas 2 out of 3. I do think A&M is going to show up, and they're going to be very competitive this weekend. And, going back to the comment that you were making, I do believe there is a line between being too hyped up, but being appropriately hyped up. Guys, we've seen some recent series in Austin that Texas wanted to win. Into the series against TCU and Schlossnagle a couple years ago as an example, where our team was fired up from the first pitch, and you could just tell they wanted it more. And that's kind of what I'm looking for, right? I'm not expecting Texas to be pressing or trying too hard or anything like that. But I think there's going to be emotion just overflowing from both dugouts. And I'd be surprised if we saw anything less than that. But I do think it's going to be Texas 2 out of 3. I'm going to be really nervous about Friday. I think this is going to be one of those series where the team that wins game 1 is going to win the series. In my opinion, I think it's going to be very hard for either of these teams to drop the first game and then win Saturday and Sunday in a charged up environment. So hoping that Ruger comes out, has his good stuff, that we're able to bring in Valantis to close that out, and just really excited about the weekend.
All right, Zach, what do you got?
So I'm going to be a very popular person, and I honestly think Texas drops the series this weekend. I like the Spencer versus Prager matchup a lot more. A&M's hot right now. They've got the bats going. And Texas pitching has shown that they can silence the bats, right? They did it against Georgia. They did it against a number of other teams where they're holding them to less than their normal output. But, they're going to be fired up. They're going to want to play hard. And it's not always about them playing hard, but sometimes that extra little bit of motivation just gives them a little bit more edge competitively. Not that because you're right. In baseball, trying harder does not necessarily mean you're going to have success, for sure. But sometimes it does give you a little bit extra edge, especially if, it goes to a bullpen type situation. So the thing that gives me pause is that Texas has, A, not lost a series this season, and B, it's at Dish. And I think that all plays really well into Texas having the chance to win. So, it would not surprise me in the very least if Texas won this series, but just how hot A&M is right now, and when you have the combination of pitching and hitting, they've already beat number 2 Arkansas in Fayetteville, and they beat number 1 Tennessee in Knoxville. So can they make it 3 for 3? Maybe, but
all right. So Zach's saying the Aggies get it done this weekend. I
want to make a point. I want to make a point, Sean. Zach is 0-2 picking against Texas this year. So
he is.
Put that on the record. I think he also picked Mississippi State and LSU to beat us.
And third time's a charm. So. And don't beat up Zach. He's just saying what he thinks. Let us beat up Zach. So, man, to me, everything you said is true, Zach. They've got good pitching. They just didn't have offense. The offense has come along, and man, has it come along. To me, though, I think what's going to get A&M this weekend is the fact that they've got so much pent-up emotion, and just they have like much more things to distract them about this series than Texas does. They're the ones that got left by their coach. They're the ones that are quote unquote little brother. They're all those things. And I think they're going to bring that in, and it's going to be some baggage for them. And I think we're going to see A&M press a little bit. I think we're going to see, of the two teams, I think A&M will be the team that looks less like themselves. This Texas team has been businesslike in every single series this entire season. It's just another game. It's just another at bat. It's just another play. It's just another pitch. I think we'll continue to see that. I do think A&M takes a game. I think they're really talented. They're good and they're hot right now. So if Texas is able to pour some ice cold water on that, that'll just be more ammo for this Texas team in terms of their resume and what they've been able to do. But I'm going to take Texas 2 out of 3, just like Mark. I'm going to go with Mark on that. I just think the emotional side of this is going to get to them. I think it's going to cause them to just step outside of themselves a little bit, and we're not going to see great baseball like we have been seeing out of A&M these last few weeks. So that's what I think. Any other last thoughts before we get out of here?
The only other thought I have that I think, again, lends itself towards Texas winning the series is it hasn't happened as much recently, but it's been covered a little bit by the offense. But you've seen some coaching mistakes from Michael Early. He pulls a guy too early, or he leaves a guy in. He gets a little cute at times. And I think he's kind of reeled some of that back in where he's not making as many changes. But something like that could absolutely happen this weekend where, maybe they're down a couple runs and he starts trying to press buttons. And as a first-time head coach, man, that can really have an effect on your team. And so
he's the same guy that pressed all the wrong buttons for most of this season.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't, he's got some experience since then, obviously, but he's still the same guy. He's still a first-year head coach. He's looking across the dugout at Jim Schlossnagle, looking across the field at that guy. I think there's a lot of baggage there that's gonna come out this weekend. We'll see. Any last thoughts before we jump out of here, Mark?
None at all. Just want to, in closing, just encourage all the Texas fans to get out there, man. Show up, make some noise, and again, I'd be shocked and very disappointed if we didn't have one of the most raucous weekend environments that we can remember. So hoping it'll be packed, and folks, y'all come out to left field and hang out if you can.
Absolutely. Come see us. That's it for this edition of the Bullpen. We'll be back next Monday, 8:30 p.m. Hopefully we are talking about another Texas SEC series win. Follow us all on X for the latest in Texas baseball. Subscribe and get notified at the YouTube channel at Horn Takes. Thanks again, Zach and Mark. Thanks everyone that joined us tonight in the chat and watched us out there at home. You guys have a good one. Y'all get hooked.
Welcome.